ones you vote for, same ones we sell coke for. Hoping they stand on everything they spoke for. See me, I'm of a different thought, cut from a different cloth, sliced from a different loaf. As we bred here, they scream and go back to Africa like we fled here. They scream, go back to Africa, won't stop attacking us. 10% Draculas, devil with a bachelor's. Yakub sent to master us, 600 years of grafting us. Jesus coming back for us, that's silly, they just laugh at us. Why the world so mad at us? Why the world so mad at us?
We get high, why the world go by? We smoke goods, why the world go back? We live slow, date our face. If you want to fix a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah, oh, we smoke to be stress-free. Oh, we only smoke.
Enjoy the people in your company before they no longer people in your company. But watch who you accompany. The world is full of tricksters, slick with their lips are sipping on elixir lies mixed with the liquor. See, I get the bigger picture cause I'm framing it. You see, I get the bigger picture cause I'm painting it. This the results of moon rocks and Cali's favorite. This the results of Hennessy straight, no chasing it. Not scared to put my face in it. I'm out here killing all the doubt there. East Coast, West Coast, down south, Midwest, Ohio's next to bench press. Can't change, I'm senseless, but I'ma die slow. Not riding with Diablo or the sleepy cause they hollow. Swish or the Fanto, tengo hambre, dame tiquitos con pescado. En y estoy malo, simpático, por supuesto. Le dije, y estoy malo, so
we get high, why the world go by? We smoke goods, why the world go back? We live slow, date our face. If you want to fix a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah, oh, we smoke to be stress-free. Oh, we only smoke.
We smoke until we stress-free and party like we debt-free. And we having fun, this is Jackie Chan versus Jet Li. Okay, let's breathe. I'm Mr. Third Letter, everything, let's see, let's beef. I view the streets from the Matrix. The cop killing is racist. The planet's full of hatred. They hate when blacks say shh. They hate when blacks say shh. All black lives matter. Listen, that's a lie, check the data. And we done move mountains just to sip fountains. And they done hypnotized the 85ers by the thousands. And I ain't just writing, never just rapping. And I ain't just rhyming, and never did no tapping. But this is what that smoke do, make me overly vocal. I'm antisocial, shining like I'm supposed to. But plus I can flow too. See what Ohio go through, and wasn't surprised to see them Indians choke too. So
we get high, why the world go by? We smoke goods, why the world go back? We live slow, date our face. If you want to fix a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah, oh, we smoke to be stress-free. Oh, we only smoke, we get high, why the world go by? We smoke goods, why the world go back? We live slow, but date our face. If you want to fix a nigga like me.
Yeah. Said I'm soaking up this knowledge, motivate. I swear these words, they give me power, feel to motivate. I explain my heart, watch me glow, I'm feeling so amazing. Yeah, look, knowledge of self, piling up wealth. The book of brick came off the shelf. I just played the hand I was dealt. Studied the cards to beat the odds. I am at one with the gods. My mother's my universe. She gave birth to the star. It's been confirmed in my thoughts. So every verse I go hard. I'm just full of this black pride. No, I ain't perfect at all. No, not motivated to be greater, way more than before. Give them this black magic. This would be that sorcerer's flow. Abracadabra, welcome to madness. Create a classic poof from out of nowhere. I just started crafting music for my people, give them proper satisfaction. Action, roll the cameras, yeah we don't catch the spotlight. No, I ain't flashy, low key, you know me. I'm in the cut, all black, rolling reefer up, turn it up. That's my jam right there. Got me feeling like the man right here. Oh yeah, well in advance, I'm aware of the tactics they use and attack through the music and controlling our youth. Distracted and stupid, got these rappers pushing poison on them, they don't even use it. Came to the conclusion, had to take that frequency and create my own blueprint. Knowledge over trap beats, that black power music, give my people energy. Swear I'm just a conduit for the ancestors. I don't write, I fine tune it, just in case you ever wonder how I do it so exclusive. Soaking up this knowledge motivate me. I swear these words, they give me power, feel and motivate me. I expand my aura, watch me glow, I'm feeling so amazing. Even though they hating, use it as a source of inspiration, motivated. Soaking up this knowledge motivate me. I swear these words, they give me power, feel and motivate me. I expand my aura, watch me glow, I'm feeling so amazing. Even though they hating, use it as a source of inspiration, motivated. I'm about to level up, I got a daughter on the way, and I support her any means necessary. Baba Brick is transforming it right before your eyes, treated like a live performance. Messed around and lost my religion, waiting on this moment, and nothing seems clear right now. I swear I'm feeling good, my head up in the clouds, chilling on number 9. Tell them look at me now, the monster I trapped inside can finally let it out. You hear them growls, and freedom what we seeking, please believe it. I'ma rinse and repeat it until they learn the procedures. This my thesis, the index of my book upon completion. We gon' journey through my world, do this for my baby girl. Motivation levels, no, they never been this high. I'm getting vibes by making sure we survive. Who am I? Yeah, it's Brick. I'm still that same nigga that you knew though. All the way real, nothing pseudo. Not at all, man. Soaking up this knowledge motivate me. I swear these words, they give me power, feel and motivate me. I expand my aura, watch me glow, I'm feeling so amazing. Even though they hating, use it as a source of inspiration, motivated. Soaking up this knowledge motivate me. I swear these words, they give me power, feel and motivate me. I expand my aura, watch me glow, I'm feeling so amazing. Even though they hating, use it as a source of inspiration, motivated. Yeah.
It's just going to be a military state. You kill on sight. If you disagree with the political philosophy of the nation, you get killed. We know that that's unjust.
My right fist high, can I get a black power? I said, can I get a black power? Now tell me, can I get a black power? It's Brick, feel superhuman, spearheading this new movement. Black power, new generations, reaching them even sooner. They ain't have to get locked up, came back, now they Sunni channeled our higher selves. And yes, we still tuning, vibration sacred. There ain't no other way to mute me. Press pause if you wanna, you gon' miss it all, dog. These just right brain thinking from this southpaw. My heart heavy, trying to balance out my outlaws when outdoors. Cause they don't think like us, they outlaws. We seeking knowledge of ourselves, self-destruction is all they out for. How can we reach them? Teach them want something better, cause we can't be niggas and bitches forever. But when I call you kings and queens, you don't accept it. We came from royalty, was forced into the mindset of a peasant. Uncle Tom kicked back, reading Willie Lynch's letters, scared to fight back. So majority just settled. Damn, my right fist high, can I get a black power? Right fist high, can I get a black power? Right fist high, can I get a black power? It's time to reclaim what's South. They asking what do I believe in? I ain't into no religion. Beard long, not a Muslim, though I know what you thinking. It's a stereotypical placed in the box, and the reason is white supremacists. These locks don't make me roster, they ain't all my ether. This is black power all through your speakers. Trust me, it starts with self. Unity, the next sequence. My brain cause waves in the deep end. They mind shallow, let that sink in. This is food for thought, that good eating. Break bread, brick breezes, building bars, just breathing. Thank the ancestors for making this look so easy. Yeah, my fist toward the universe. Best believe it, the Akashic records used to reveal the secrets. My soul's in a higher place, elevated from the dire straits.
Yeah, actually I can.
Okay.
You know, and I know people in the live stream tripping because they can't hear me just yet, can't hear us just yet, rather. And I don't know what it is about Blog Talk. It's like I have to do it twice. I mean, I have to put the link in on 2 separate occasions. And it does that every time, and I'm not exactly sure why. But if my calculations are correct,
now is out there.
yeah, in about, I don't know, 3 seconds or so, they should be able to hear us on the live stream. And I'm sure somebody else. I'm not even in the live stream right now. I got so many screens open.
Well,
that is
I
ridiculous.
can monitor the live stream today.
That would be dope. That would be very dope. And shout out to the people that have tuned in. If this is your first time, we don't really do much for the first 15 minutes. Just try to tweak things and try to get everything correct. And peace to Chester. I see you in the live stream. And if you cannot hear me for some reason, let me know.
Okay.
And I know people in the live stream because they can't hear me just yet. Can't hear us just yet, rather.
Mr. Chester West.
And I don't know what it is about Blog Talk. It's like I have to do it twice. And I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I have to put the link in on 2 separate occasions. You should be able to hear it. And it does that every time, and I'm not exactly sure why. Change. But if my calculations are correct, it should be popping up shortly. Yeah. In about, I don't know. And since my phone been on the fritz, I can't really check. They should be able to hear us on the live stream. There we go. And I'm sure somebody else. I'm not even in the live stream right now. I got so many screens open. Good. All right, let's go. So anyway, that is ridiculous life for everybody out there.
The live stream today.
That would be dope. That would be very dope. And shout out to the people that have tuned in. If this is your first time, we don't really do much for the Facebook live stream. Just try to tweak things and try to get everything correct. Look at the YouTube live stream to see if we got and peace to Chester. Let me just check that out right quick in the live stream. And if you cannot hear me for some reason, let me know. And what's good? I know people in because they can't hear me just yet. Can't hear us just yet, rather. And I don't know before we get started. Blog Talk, like I have to do it twice. And I don't know the number right quick. I mean, I have to put the link in on two separate accounts. And while I'm doing that, and it does that every time. You know what? Shout out to MYSKINISMYSIN.com. But if my calculations are correct, check out the new intellectuallypetty.com. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And about we got. And since my phone been on the thing, it's coming with intellectually change from the live stream, and I'm sure somebody else. I'm not even in the live stream right now. I got so many lane portrait screens. All right, let's go. So anyway, Housewife, everybody out there, FPOT.com. It's a social media network for us. And shout out to the people that have tuned in. If this is your first time, we don't really do much for the Facebook live. Just try to tweak things. MBK, so shout out to MBK. And peace to Chester. Let me just check that out right quick in the live stream. And if you cannot hear me for some reason, let me know.
But I wanted to mention that.
I know people in the live stream because they can't hear me just yet. Can't hear us just yet, rather. And I don't know what it is. Blog Talk, like I have to do it twice. And I don't know the number right quick. I mean, I have to put the link in on two separate accounts while I'm doing that, and it does that every time. You know what? Shout out to MYSKINISMYSIN.com. But if my calculations are correct, check out the new intellectuallypetty.com. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And about we got, and since my phone been on the thing, it's coming with intellectually change very ears. And I'm sure somebody else. You in one of the live streams? I'm not even in the live stream right now, so let people know. Lane portrait screens. I'm not sure. And Chester will call in. I told him to call in. So anyway, Black 715. Housewife, everybody out there. Oh, I don't know if that's calling. That would be dope. That would be worth it. And shout out to the people that have if this is your first time, we don't really do much for the Facebook
Apple, so I forgot to turn my volume down.
Oh, I'm like, man, you talking to the aliens over there. What's good?
Nah.
Hook us up. Just try to tweak things. Shout out what? Stay on code. I think that kind of resolved itself. Are we good now? Stay on code. Because what ends up happening if I open something up on my computer and I do not mute it, and that's the problem right there. So my apologies for that. We should be good. Stay on code. Yeah, I think we shouted everybody out, and I think we should be good right now too. So if you can for us, share the post. Invite somebody, tag somebody. We got a lot of things open and going on over here, so help us out a little bit. And let me know, stay on code if we good too. I definitely appreciate the love and helping you out a little bit there. Okay, that's Afi right there. That's not me. I'm over here working, and you messing up the brilliance.
I'm sorry. I made fun of my daddy like hella hard for like 2 hours yesterday for not being able to catch on to what I was showing him on his smartphone, and I'm up here like a whole baby deer with this damn iPad. I swear I hate this thing. I hate it. I turned the ringer down, not the media. I'm sorry.
All right. And without further ado, we do got the king in the building. And if y'all have not heard of Chester West, I'm telling you will soon. Make no mistake. The brother is definitely a breath of fresh air. Like he ain't putting knowledge out there to beat nobody up. He's just spreading information, and the information he spreads is just phenomenal. And it's my boy too, man. Good people. So without further ado, we're gonna get Chester West in on the conversation. What's good, fam?
Hey, yo, peace. I'm good, peace, brother. I ain't, you the king too, man. Kings, queens, everybody. Peace to everybody. Just wish everybody a happy Carter G. Woodson month, man. Saying shout out to everybody, man, to that ancestor. So this is the first day of it, but I'm good, man. I appreciate the acknowledgement, man. I appreciate the support. You my brother, so I'm gonna be there for you, man.
No doubt, man. You're a smart cat, bro. I got to give you props, man. And I be talking shit about it, but you really, I have learned so much from you, bro.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I mean, that's honestly, man, this is what it should be about. Just us really, we have gone through too much, and we're going through too much, man, for us not to come together and try to straighten out some of this divisive nature that's going on with us, man. So I do my best to just really, stay neutral and just at least give you information, and you go from there. I'm not into trying to bang on anybody for no reason, man. You know what I mean? So
no doubt.
Just doing my best.
No doubt.
I appreciate it. I really do.
And my apologies, I did not introduce the Queen Afi Chester. That's my co-host Afi. Afi, that is Chester.
Oh, peace to you. Peace. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I you know what? You sound familiar too. Weren't you the one that was cheating on me when I was me and Dylan Briggs? Me and Dylan Briggs was going at it on that the last show you had. Well, not the last show. One of the shows when we were competing for the money on Knowledge Black History.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Dylan was giving me. She was giving me the business, man. I was like, I can't type fast enough. I couldn't type fast enough. Yo, shout out to her, man. Yeah, she did it big that day. I couldn't get the information to y'all. So that's good, man.
Yeah, she was definitely on the A game. Shout out to Delia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she wasn't playing. She was giving Cass the business. I was like, all right, you got me. So, but it's all good. But yeah. So nah.
All right. So before we really get into it, man, is there any way people can contact you afterward if they would like to? Any shout outs you want to give, and we can jump off into the subject at hand.
Yeah, bro. I mean, people can just email me at my Gmail account at civilized. That's CIVILIZE 2023 at gmail.com. So and obviously that's the word civilized, as though to try to do with your nature as best as possible. So civilized23 at gmail.com, man. Email me and hit me up. I've got a couple of things in the making too. I'll be spreading out shortly too. And shout out to my other family, man, MBK out there, my man Truth Historian. We're doing things on that channel also. So just anytime, man. My name that you see on Facebook, that's my real name. And that's me. So I ain't hiding from nobody, especially from people that look like me. So if we any means, you know what I mean? So for a while I tried to stay a little incognito, man. But man, listen, this is about healing wounds and trying to fix some things with one another. So just hit me up.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my motive. That's my motive, fam. So
that's not why Jobs' real name is up there though. He's just not creative enough to come up with a name. So you up there talking about that.
I mean, well, first off, I didn't need 74 syllables. I'm not about to be out here like I'm so bro, I can't even pronounce that shit. I'm not about to be trying to get somebody else to pronounce it.
I got 2 syllables.
But Facebook made me change it to my real name. I ain't had no choice with the matter.
Oh, wait, what?
I'm sorry,
just
say
went
again?
totally out there. Yeah.
Oh, my other name too. I mean, the name you'll see me on my videos that I'm trying to get going with under is Dark Warrior. Also, I go by Dark Warrior. So anytime you see that, that's me too.
All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of people interested in the topic too, man. And I was thinking about it. I kind of maybe I should have titled it a little different. And Afi, for some reason, you sound like you was like swimming or something. I'm not sure what's going on over there. But let me know if you're good. If you need some help, we'll
right
send
now?
somebody over there.
I'm not
yeah.
ready.
Oh no, you good now?
Oh no, I bought a earpiece so you could stop. You could leave me alone about an echo. But I'm eating at the same time, so I'm like muting.
Whatever, man. All right.
I'm a multitasker.
I am not. Y'all already know that. But anyway, take us back as far as you can with respect to religion. Matter of fact, and I know we was talking a little bit earlier, and you wanted to start off actually even before then, because we got a lot of people interested in the conversation. So I want to kind of get them kind of like a foundation before we get into the opinionated stuff.
I mean, to without really, boring anybody and really exasperating, religion, the three major religions, and shouts out to the ancestor, Dr. Ben Yakinen, about this. He has many books that's on the subject matter. The three major religions that we're dealing with right now comes out of African spirituality. Okay? I mean, it's just the bottom line. When the invaders began coming into Africa, man, and when they started coming out of their ice age and started coming into Africa, the first form of people was obviously the Greeks. Then, of course, they taught the Romans, and later on the Romans lost knowledge of it after a while, and they had to regain it because they were a bunch of idiots. But they started really learning what the Africans had already had in place. Some people call it animism, which is just a form of understanding that the divine creator is in everything, nature. And our spirituality has always been based on that everything, that divine creator, that divine energy is in everything, spirituality itself. And it wasn't until, honestly, I say around 332 BC, a little prior to that, when it officially began during the Hellenistic period, where religion started to form through Constantine, him giving his decree that this is officially going to be Christianity. And mind you, these are the same people that did not have a religion. In fact, they were killing Christians. Some of the people who was calling themselves Christians, he was killing them until they finally saw that it can be used as a tool of domination and politics or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you had a Roman African by the name of Saint Augustine, who in fact really began putting together doctrines to establish Catholicism, which Christianity is under the umbrella. And he started formulating these books to start teaching you how to teach Christianity. And of course, this is all declared under hermeneutics, which is nothing but a fancy word of, the theory or the methodology of interpretation of biblical texts. And so after a while, you start having this new religion form. Now Christianity itself is relatively young compared to like Islam and Judaism. Mm-hmm. But when it's all said and done, none of this existed until invaders had gone into Africa and started learning what the African was doing. Now, whether someone wants to call themselves African or not, I'm not getting into all of that. All I know is
I feel you on that one.
It was in Africa. It was in Africa, and where the origin of it all. So anyway, you speed it up. Listen, Christianity, as we know that, because we can predominantly Christian and Islam is the religions of here in the Western Hemisphere amongst anyone of African descent. Majority of us are Christian based on the Atlantic slave trade. Okay, and that's including both in the North America and South America through the Caribbean. And some of your primary denominations of Christianity was your Presbyterians, your Methodists, your Baptists, other small, Quakers, all those denominations. But these are all of European interpretation who had formulated Christianity out inside the Catholic churches. Well, what I always try to express to anyone of religious background is try to be a student, a historical student of what you subscribe to at least. I understand majority of us, including myself, was in a religion or still are in religions through either just upbringing cultural conditions. I understand that completely. However, what I try to emphasize people to do, become a student of your religious beliefs. And then that way you can have more concrete argument, if you will, on whether or not you want to maintain Christianity or Islam or Judaism, you see? But also go into history objectively, because you're dealing with a subject matter. And so when the earlier Europeans began to establish civilization, or their civilization here in the North Americas amongst the indigenous people, and they started bringing slaves over here from Africa, or they started bringing Africans over here in slavery, which is a big difference. Even within the 1700s, they were having turmoil amongst themselves on whether or not they wanted to teach the African Christianity. See, now I want to clear that. I want to really make that clear. They were deciding whether or not they were going to begin teaching the African Christianity, meaning they weren't Christians. And so this inner turmoil was, all right, if I was to teach them Christianity, it may go against my moral beliefs, which of course we have cognitive dissonance starting to kick in, because I still have to maintain servitude and I have to maintain me being in a superior position. And many of our brothers and sisters, our ancestors, who had converted to Christianity both on the continent and here, was doing it under the notion that if we were to become Christians or to be baptized, then in fact we would no longer be slaves. But unfortunately, Europeans being who they are, they had still devised other loopholes to still convince you, no, you will maintain being a slave, but we're going to construct a belief system to have you become subservient to who I want you to be, and I'm going to continue to eliminate your African traditions. And then I'm going to create missionaries after doing so, and you're going to go back amongst your brethren back on the continent and through the Caribbeans, and you're going to teach them what we'll be teaching you. And some of those culprits to that was, of course, Charles Cocotte, who was Charles Cocotte Jones, which was a slave master who was one of the culprits that was instructing many of your slaveholders on how to enslave your Africans as Christians and still maintain the chattel slavery in which we know as today as slavery itself. You see? So many of our people were becoming Christians due to either force or coercion. One of the two. I'll give you an example. Richard Allen, and give a shout out to my man True Storian, who does a phenomenal job on this part of history with Richard Allen. Richard Allen, he opens up the first African Methodist church, Episcopal church up there in Philadelphia. You see? Why? Well, Richard Allen's former master was a Methodist teacher who did what for him? He set him free. And when he died, Richard Allen took on the Methodist faith. Why Methodist? Because the Methodist and the Baptist was trying to persuade the African, if you will, because they were anti-slavery denominations. And they were persuading the African, if you will, on who was more righteous than the other. And I'm using these for the lack of a better word. And so that's why you see a lot of brothers like myself growing up when I was in Carolina as a Baptist. And then you'll see some as Methodist. But Richard Allen creating that first church up there in Philadelphia was due to the fact of who his former slave master was. And then he had carried on the Methodist denomination, the first freely denominated African-American church in the country. That's just little tidbits about how we became Christians. And then, of course, we have brothers and sisters who are dealing with the Islamic faith, dealing with the nomads who come into Africa, and they here you go with the development of a new religion of Islam. It started in East Africa first and eventually spread. And like I explained to you earlier, there's a difference of a Western African Muslim and an Eastern and Northern African Muslim.
Right.
And it has something to do with perception. It has something to do with perception. And you notice a lot of your Northern African Muslims and your Eastern African Muslims are more Arab thinking, opposed to your Western African Muslims who still held on and still hold on to some of their African traditions. So you have all, and then of course Judaism, who comes into, who had come into play first, going back to Josephus Flavius in the 1st century, was coincidentally, and he was a Jew, a Jewish writer who coincidentally began working for the Romans. He was one of the right-hand men of the Romans, and he was working for them. And then it was coincidentally that he comes into play, and I'm just saying this for a reason. He comes into play as a Jewish writer, writing out Jewish history, but this is also the same century that Christianity comes into existence. But I'll let whomever's listening and those who probably know more than me ponder on that. So what am I saying? So all of these religions formulate throughout history. We as of African descent take on these religions, and of course, we're the most spiritual people, and I'll say that in all sincerity, we're the most spiritual people on the planet. We take it to the next level because it's truly our nucleus of growth. We're spiritual people. And, of course, here you have people who are dominated with that nucleus of faith and has been very successful with that faith. And that's why I tell brothers and sisters who try to ridicule religion, you have to be careful with that, because you're going to then ridicule great men and women who were of the Christian faith. Majority of our history, our heroes and sheroes, if you will, are Christians. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. And so that's why when you talk to me about this show, I wanted to make it clear to people, and I'll make it clear now. I'm not here to ridicule you on your religion. I left Christianity 31 years ago. However, I'm mature enough now to understand that no matter what your faith is, we are still melanated people going through some tumultuous times, and we need to come together and set aside all of our divisive differences and try to, fight against this oppression that we continue to be victims of, no matter what your religious belief may be. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
And the pushback on that would be people that say, well, I'm giving them the truth, and sometimes it's painful, and they got to learn either way.
Well, I would say this. There's always a manner in which you teach truth. Like, for an example, on my Facebook page, I'm really careful on who I let in my circle when it comes to on my Facebook page. I don't need to be seeing memes on my Facebook page of a drawing of one of the Nuset, bitches, or AKA pharaohs, pissing on a picture of the so-called Jesus.
Right.
Rather, because to me, that's right there. You are purposely being divisive and causing trouble, because people are deeply rooted in that tradition, in that belief. So, what is the benefit? And I'm just using that for an example. I mean, I'm not knocking. I'm not trying to single out any ideology. I'm just using that for an example. What is the benefit of me doing something such as that to offend someone, only to push someone further away from you, and then now come up with, you hear people more saying, man, I can't stand those hoteppers, man. You know what I mean? You're creating an animal that didn't exist in the first place. Furthermore, let's put this in perspective. Let's say you have someone that was like me 31 years ago, who was teetering on leaving the church, right?
Right.
Back then, it was the 5%. Who was many of my brothers were in. So let's say I'm teetering on leaving Christianity, but then each time I see pictures such as that, you're starting to offend me because my mother is a Christian, my father is a Christian, so on and so forth. You may personally, and my mother actually is, she's an archbishop. Bless her heart, she's a sweet woman, I don't care. But you have officially now, hey, she's still my mother, I don't give a damn.
Hey, that's mom's, bro.
Yes, mom. So anyway, so what you have done is possible. What you did was take that person who possibly was questioning their faith and thinking like, dang, he is making sense that of what he's subscribing to, but then he starts seeing offensive literature or drawings or pictures or whatever, and you just turned them off and pushed him back, or he or she back. It's counterproductive. Mm-hmm. All of this is starting to make this is a microcosm of who we are as a people on a global level. Damn America. On a global level, this is a microcosm of what we're going through. We just got our civil rights bill in 1964. You just got out of Jim Crow about 150 years ago. You just got through the Depression. You just got through the drug wars that Nixon and Reagan was pushing through us. You got the eugenics program. You got chattel slavery. God damn it, you haven't had any chance to recover. And now what you want to do is still bang on people who still have scar tissue?
Man, talk that shit, bro.
A post-traumatic slave scar tissue. Big up to that Dr. Joyce DeGruy for writing that book. That was a really good book. I recommend people read that if you haven't. You taking the people who's never had a chance to even heal, and you're still beating them on their religious faith. You can't do that. So what do? You teach them history, and you do it in a respectful manner, and hope that it starts to sink in, and the pride and all of that starts to sink in. My page does not offend anyone unless you're just completely just hate history, African history at that. And when I say that, I'm talking about throughout the diaspora. I'm not just talking about here. That's just my stance.
I'm trying to wonder. I'm sitting here thinking, like, at what point did it change? And not to say, and Christianity, Christians here take the lion's share of this getting shitted on. At what point did it change, though? Because the church at one point was like central to all of our families' lives, whether you believed wholeheartedly or not. There were meetings there that it was part of the community. It was more interactive, and at some point along the way, that we lost that.
Well, in all due respect, and I don't want anyone of the Christian faith to think that I'm banging on just the Christian faith, but we're in part of the hemisphere where the majority of us are Christian. So
right.
So pardon me if it feels as though I'm slighting you, but I'm not. The church in earlier history, in all of its greatness, establishing all the societies through whether it was Octavius Cato, Richard Allen, Aslan Jones, all of them. They were establishing societies that was helping all of us as a whole, all throughout, right, even into the 50s and 60s, and then of course it dwindles a little bit in the 70s, just a bit. Black Power movement was starting to dwindle a little bit. However, many of our societies always thought of us. When the government started seeing church as being the nucleus, and commerce is one of the primarily functions of religion, organized religion as we know, you got a problem. And the reason why you have a problem, because now you're dealing with business.
Yeah.
Commerce is starting to get into play. Millions of dollars a year starting to get into play. You figure what? The African in America is spending about $1.2 trillion a year, and about 400-something million of that is church tithings. So, what am I saying?
That's it? I thought it was a lot more than that, man.
It probably about
and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just surprised, like
well,
damn.
On on an annual basis. That's some dough. So, but what I'm saying is this: the government, especially if you start looking at the faith-based initiatives that George Bush started pushing. In the 60s, there was a pastor by the name of Reverend, I think Vernon Davis, if I'm not mistaken, and not the player for the Spurs. But he was.
Is that the same dude that got into politics?
Yeah, he tried to get into politics. But what happened was many of our earlier pastors was militant and about being African, being black, fighting against the establishment, like, liberation. Darn this, I'm tired of them lynching us.
Exactly.
4,000 of African people in this country of African descent was lynched alone. That's men, pregnant women, and children. And that, of course, that's when Ida B. Wells kicks in from Mississippi and starts starts really pushing the idea we have to focus more on lynching, right? So what took place is church eventually, with the manipulation of also government, started changing its mission to a degree because you're dealing with money. I'll give you an example. I work in Washington, D.C. I live in Maryland. I work in Washington, D.C. I work on Minnesota Avenue. Between Benton Road, where I used to live when I was a kid before I moved to Carolina, and to Good Hope Road, where I give free food out to the homeless every summer, once a month, there are 10 churches of different denominations. They just built 3 of them within the last year and a half. I saw them. They have brand new fences, brand new paved driveways, brand new bricks, nice signs, the whole 9. When you come out of the church, the community is completely depopulated, and 80 to 87% of the people who control the community is not of the people who go to those churches. In fact, they're not even of African descent. Yet and still, when you go to parts of Detroit, and I'm saying that because of the host, when you go to the Arab parts, you have the masjid, you have the grocery stores, you have some of the, you have businesses that's ran by them that is also supported by what? Their religious belief.
Yep.
The black community has a tremendous amount of funding and energy to put forth religious buildings, but don't put the same effort in the businesses that can employ the people who is going to your doggone religious centers. And that was the difference between now and 100 years ago. Jews are the same way. Asia's the same way. We are the only people that is like a superhero that is afraid to fly. You don't never want to see your true powers because you're afraid of this false propaganda of being reverse racist. So what do? You marginalize your progress because you're afraid of being ridiculed. But you get upset when you're constantly marginalized and being ridiculed anyway because they still don't see you as human and don't want you here. So our spirituality, our religious sanctuaries is still being practiced through a Eurocentric mentality. It's not being practiced through an African mentality. And Dr. Amos Wilson talks about that in many of his books. Shout out to that ancestor. May he rest in power. Get his books. He talks about that. The African mind is still practicing, and it's not our fault because no one has gone through what we've gone through here. But truth of the matter is, we're still going through our religious growth and our religious functionality through a European process. That's why you have to read the How to Make a Negro a Christian by Charles Colcock Jones, because he gives you precise steps on how they did so. I'm going to pick a few Negroes out, in which the terminology they use. I'm going to Christianize you, and then I'm going to have you teach them other Negroes Christianity, and I'm going to oversee you as you do it. And if I teach you Christianity, here's some of the things. You cannot rebel against us, and you cannot try to fight yourself out of slavery. Hence, Nat Turner and them. Because he still saw himself as an African. In the early 17th, 18th, 19th century, they still saw themselves as African. The people today don't see yourself as an African. You just see yourself as being whatever denomination of a religion that you want. That's why you're not progressive.
And King, we got a caller in the queue, and I'm sorry I didn't have him on hold for like a half an hour. I just want to make sure we. Oh no, you good, bro? Shit, I'm over here like damn. All right, but hold on, let me get to 6334 right quick. What's good, fam?
What's good with you, sir?
Oh, just chilling, same old.
Wonderful, wonderful. I just have to commend the young brother that's speaking right now in terms of what he's speaking about, the history of religion, and speaking about the changes that happened through the course of time. And I have been taking several notes on top of what I'm working on, my capstone about this particular subject. And I've been noticing that I talk to a lot of people that claim Christianity that actually bash other religions and even bash some of their own fellow Christians for whatever reason, because I've noticed, like in the beginning of religion, especially.
I mean, but it's not just Christians either. Like I'm.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, like they
Muslims
get
do it
dumped
too.
on the most.
Yeah, they do. But at the same time, it's like the different denominations of Christianity, as mentioned before, whether it's Catholicism or Baptist or Methodist or Episcopalian or Apostolic, just all these different degrees under this big old, umbrella of Christianity that I've noticed that people bicker back and forth about. But I thought that it was interesting how you brought up how religion was supposed to be and how it morphed into something that has become more superficial. Because in the beginning, from what I gathered, when I was studying religions when I was in college, was especially after the transatlantic slave trade, is Christianity at first was also a form of unification, because here there are black people coming from their land that they know, that they cherish, that they nurture, into something that was basically new to them and strange to them. So the whole...
And getting their ass beat in the process.
That too. So the whole thing about them unifying in that one spectrum, because they try to equate religion with spirituality, is what, for the most part, people were uniting for. But then I started noticing also that it was also a place of meeting for everything from how to plan revolts, escape.
Hey, Queen.
Yes.
I hate to cut you off, but you can go.
I know.
So we're trying to. We got a lot of people in the queue. I do want to ask you this though, on the topic.
Yes.
Are you in favor of bashing religion? Is it progress, hypocrisy, or is it helpful?
It's hypocrisy. Absolutely.
And why would you say that?
Why would you? Because why would you bash it out of ignorance? Which 9 times out of 10, that's why people bash religion, because they don't know and don't study the history, as the young brother has described. Because once you study something and you start to anoint yourself, meaning enlighten yourself about any given topic, then you give yourself the choice to continue practicing that religion or seeking other types of spiritual enlightenment.
And see, I guess I kind of see the opposite, and I'm gonna get to you. I see you 6668. I'm gonna get to you in a second. But I kind of see the opposite. It's like people. The more people learn, the more verbally aggressive they are towards people that don't know what they know, or may know what they know
That's a different
and still choose to practice.
Though.
How is it different? Like shitting on somebody is shitting on somebody. Just
No.
because you use more syllables makes it different?
No. I mean, it's a difference between, because that's just not, that's not religion itself. When people do that, that's just because they're assholes and they're the type of people that want to know more than you. They could have learned it yesterday. And purely because you don't know it, they're going to act the ass like they're, some kind of, scholastic superstar. That's not just religion. They're going to do that when they're talking about veganism. But it doesn't matter what they're talking about. They're going to do that. So that's a whole different situation. But I see it in the opposite way because you have people like me who do understand the history and still, I'm not like super aggressive with it. I'm not like, if you don't understand this or know this or whatever, you're dumb, deaf, and blind or whatever have you. But I am a little aggressive with people who are decently informed on the history and the purpose of religion, surely because if you know better, or you at least know that this is not the true origins of what it is that you're investing in, or if you're not doing it yourself, you're continuing to let people participate in or around you, and you're not doing your due diligence in trying to at least spread some of that awareness. I have a problem with you because we as Black people globally are massively affected by religion in a detrimental fashion, while other cultures around us improve from it because religion is teaching us to not be self-reliant. It's teaching us to not unify. It's teaching us to not go out and make changes.
That's not true because at one point in time, religion was used as a unifying factor.
See, we had a sense of community and organization and culture and unification then. We don't have that now. So when people rely on religion now, that takes away them having to be responsible for self. Everyone, thank Allah, thank God, thank you, Jesus, help me. It's you giving away your power and the opportunity for you to do something for yourself. That people, and not everyone who bashes religion is doing it for, we have the same stance that I have on it. But that's the issue that I have with religion is that it teaches people to be reliant on something non-tangible, can't see, can't touch, and the saddest thing about it is you have no interest in understanding why it's there in the first place.
See, my thing is this, is that throughout our time, especially on this continent, when we were kidnapped and brought here, put it that way, there have been moments for a long time where the church was home base for basically everything. It was the unifying factor. It was that one spot we could go to and be us.
But you know what the common denominator with that was, though, and I see where the sister's coming from. The common denominator is that the reason why some of those groups of people that she mentioned are successful with their religious belief is because they've intertwined their culture into their religion.
Absolutely.
We're not intertwined in our culture. It's like what Dr. John Henry Clark said. And he also, and forgive me if I keep dropping these names, but I'm doing it on purpose because you'll be surprised how many people don't know them. Dr. Clark said, at least if you're going to be a Christian, Africanize it. I don't care.
He's right though. He's right though. Why would you want? Why would you want to base your life and live your life off of something that was written that we have made here?
And I'm not being funny, but is that dismissing the culture that we have created here?
Well, the culture here,
like my culture was not necessarily going to church every Sunday, but I had some cousins that went to church every freaking Sunday, every Tuesday, every Thursday. It was ridiculous, But that's not culture. That's just my standpoint.
That's a routine.
Right.
That's not culture.
Yeah, that's not culture.
That's not culture.
How is that not?
Culture is history. Culture is the science that your ethnic group practices and understands. Culture is
yesterday is history.
Jobs, if you're going to be funny and do wordplay.
I'm not being funny at all. I'm just keeping it a stack. Like you picking and choosing what spots throughout history that you want to recognize. And
No,
I'm not.
No, I'm not picking and choosing. It's a collective. You have to look at it not as yesterday, something that happened 24 hours, but you have to look at a long span of time and the major events that have stuck through that resonates with everyone. Culture is not about what you individually experience or understand or like. Culture is about what your group that you identify with values and takes into the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. That creates culture.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that kind of made my point, though. Because if you think about, go ahead, bro.
You know what? That was a subject matter that I talked to somebody about a long time ago. We also now have to, in the midst of us healing our wounds of religious differences, we also have to start asking ourselves, what is black culture in America? Mm-hmm. Because remember this, and everybody knows this, you are dealing with a people who has always had to adapt to circumstances, but still hold on to your identity. But it'll eventually sway and mold because you are under, I hate using this word, but God darn it, you're under white supremacy. So what happens is you can't be truly you. In fact, I will argue the fact that the average black American, African American, or what you want to call yourself, is damn near bipolar. Because you're constantly having to be someone else in certain circumstances, and then you can go home and be somebody else. Well, guess what?
Right.
That carries over also in your religious beliefs, because you are practicing a tradition that was given to you, but eradicating your African culture. You can wear a kente cloth. Heck got it. You can do some of those other small things to kind of latch on, but the truth of the matter is, majority of what your ancestors was doing prior to 332 BC, AD rather, you are going through a tradition of European influence, not African influence, and that's including our brothers and sisters on the continent, because they're more colonized than we are.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, go to Nigeria or parts of Ghana and talk that and watch what happens. Remember,
I'm trying to do that one day.
Some of the greatest minds who has taught African studies had either come from the Caribbeans or America. That's a fact. There's only been one or two African leaders, maybe three, that was actually trying to get on the Pan-African movement. Everyone else didn't want to do with it. Why? Because they were either under Arab rule or Christian rule. This right here is another problem that the sister brought up that I think we got to fix. What is culture in America for the black man and black woman, for the black family? You remember, you got to create music too. You got to create your own music. You got to create your own language. You got to create everything to adapt. But what is truly our culture? But that's another subject at hand. All right, so I agree with both of you actually.
That's a hell of a subject too. We might have to tackle that one day. But let me get to 6668 right quick, because they've been in the queue about damn near an hour. So shout out to them, and I do apologize for the length of time. Wow, and this boy apparently Chester West has brought out the whole family apparently. So
yeah.
Right, hold on one second. What's good, fam?
I'm a fan.
Hey, what's good? What's up, y'all? Loving the subject.
What's going on,
great
bro?
subject. Brother made a good point. I'm doing good, man. I'm loving this podcast. The brother made a good point, but the thing is, we are the nucleus of all culture, all spirituality, all rhythm. So even though we were suppressed and we're under white supremacy, it's still like we're still above. because we're copied. And just like the brother said in the very beginning, all spirituality started in Africa. So the story has been distorted and shoved down our throats. But if you, like the brother said before, if you was to study enough of it, you'll go right back to where you came from. So, to kind of answer the question, attacking religion is not really productive. Studying the history, that was said too. That is the best thing to do. Study your history, and if you have a real problem with a particular religion, rewrite your own. If you don't like the Bible because the names are wrong or the dates are wrong, get the right dates, rewrite it. Don't send. You don't have to send the book through what is it, the cathedral? That's how you get the Bible, another version of the Bible written. Don't do that. Do it yourself. Put it out there, and I know I will buy it.
I just read a comment. A brother asked, why would I want to Africanize a religion that disarmed and destroyed my race? Well, brother, let me say this. What I'm trying to do is find a happy medium, because you will not eradicate Christianity in the black community. So you can just give that up. So what you're trying to do,
that's right.
You're trying to completely, you're still furthering the pain that many people are attached to. So when I say Africanize a religion, you can do so by incorporating culture in your religion and begin eventually eliminating a Eurocentric process. Some people put a black Jesus up, if you believe that Jesus existed. Some people put, all of the characters of the so-called, Last Supper, people being black. Okay, fine. Whether I believe it or not, it makes no difference as long as the people are starting to see their deity in their eyes. Then that's progress. Right. But if you can't, you will never, ever, forever, eradicate Christianity. Yeah, you like that. You will never eliminate it completely out of our community. So unfortunately, if you feel that way, good luck with you. Good luck with that, my brother. And I really mean that. You can't. You can't. Furthermore,
it's not gonna happen. We have too many traditions steeped in it. We have too many, like you said, sheroes and heroes that we will continue to revere and respect. So that's not going to happen. And then on another, and I know most of us don't think about these things. This is, going a little bit more towards the physiological aspect of religion. But honestly, we have some people who, left to their own devices, will not be humane and understand how to live in a community and collectively unless they have some kind of instruction. You know what I'm saying? So there are aspects where religion can be helpful. It's just that there's a fine line between religion that's helpful with directing one's life and religion that overtakes one's life. And that's when you get the people who are religious fanatics. And, you have the cult thing that comes in. You have people that go off and, do mass murders in the name of Allah, in the name of God. You know what I'm saying? So if we can find the medium, which it seems that we've been unable to do, then I think we can move forward and use religion as a tool. Unfortunately, because of the Caucasian, the only thing that religion has been used for in the last few thousands of years has been control. Luckily black people have found a way to hold on to it to try to save some of our African spiritual systems that we came over with, but we've not been able to do that successfully enough to use it for a positive reason and maintain our African spiritual system.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just at a point in my life. I can no longer, looking at some of my greatest heroes and sheroes, majority of them were Christians, and majority of them died broke. Looking at, close people in my family, majority of Christians, and half is Muslim, half is Islam, and the other Christians. I have to be diplomatic in my approach on trying to heal people of the same background, heritage-wise, despite their ideology. Because what I find amazing, Sephardic Jews hate Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi Jews hate Sephardic Jews. Both of those sets of Jews hate Zionists. But the one goddamn thing that they do, that they make sure that they'll continue to do, and they were successful with it in the slave trade and in here in the Americas, they made sure that I may not go to the same synagogue as you, and I may not like you, but we got to keep these Africans on the bottom, because if we don't, then the Anglo-Saxon will come back and attack us, because they were expelled out of over 46 countries since they come into existence. So those three secular Jews, those two sets of Jews, those three right there who hated each other, have still found some kind of common denominator to succeed. But yet and still, we have not mastered that. White people hate each other, but the common denominator is to make sure that you as African people would never succeed. We have not mastered that. I don't care if you got a kufi. I don't care if you got a damn Kango. If you're melanated, if you're melanated, you are my goddamn brother and sister. I don't care if you're Hebrew, Moor, Indigenous, Kemetic, or Cometian, Christian, Jehovah. I don't care. You're melanated, because each time I see someone shot on TV, and either by our own hands or otherwise, I don't sit there and wonder, damn, I bet you they were Hebrew. I bet you they were Muslim. I bet you they was Christian. No, that's a melanated person of African descent who has lost their life, because we're not doing well, and we're doing more debate on YouTube than we are building communities for ourselves. And, and our ancestors had less resources and did more. We spend $1 trillion a year, so you can't tell me we ain't got the money. You find a way to get your tats, cell phones, earrings, sneakers, the whole nine. You can't tell me you ain't got the money to make sure that you can start getting things going. I take $300 out of my pocket each month, once a month through the summer months, and I give food to the homeless. That's not nothing to brag about. I'm just telling you what I do. I'm working on getting my culture center that should be up and running this year, because I'm doing what I can do for melanated people. And the culture set, and that food is not about trying to give it to a particular set of people. They're African people. And I do it in front of a church, right off of Good Hope and Minnesota Avenue, for anyone out there that knows where it's at. And no one in that church come out to help. And I've even told them what I'm doing. I'm not taking a shot. I'm putting it in perspective. That I've learned to grow up and mature. Do for your people, man.
Yeah, but you know what? All of those are valid points, and I really wish that there was a plan that all black people came together and woke up tomorrow and put into effect. But the reason why that's not going to happen, because that is a step toward healing, and unfortunately, you can't heal yourself in a sick environment. So for us to continue to stay in this country, anybody who don't like it, I don't particularly care at the moment. Black people are not going to progress any further than we've progressed at this point in this country, because Western philosophy is based on individualism. It's based on self-actualization, not collectivism and community, which is what our ancestral understanding is. In the United States particularly, we are taught that you go out and you do what you want to do in life. You do the best that you can do to make yourself the happiest that you can be. And there's nothing wrong with that, but then you're leaving out the training on how to do those things and at the same time help your community. And if you look at Spanish cultures and Asian cultures and Indian cultures, it may seem harsh that they push their children. Hey, you need to go to America and be a doctor. You need to go to America and be a scientist. You need to go to America and be a lawyer. That's because at the same time where they're improving themselves financially, they're able to help their community at the same time. And even when they don't go abroad or to Western countries for those reasons, they do that and they look at what's neglected in the community. Where are the gaps in the community that need to be filled? I don't care if you want to be an artist. I'm going to use myself for an example. I don't care if you're passionate about art. We got a village with 10,000 people in it, and we got 20 nurses. So, yeah, you're going to be a nurse because being a nurse is going to help fill this gap that's going to improve your community. And somewhere in there, you're going to have to find how to make yourself happy in the process. That's the collective understanding that most African historical communities have been based on. But unfortunately, Western society doesn't work that way. It's about what you want to do, and if your parents don't like it, oh well. If your brothers and sisters don't like it, oh well. If your grandparents don't like it, oh well. It's about making yourself happy. And unfortunately, that does not push an entire community or an entire group of people forward.
I understand.
You know where I stand. I ain't going nowhere. Like, I feel you on that, but I ain't going nowhere. We built this motherfucker, and I ain't leaving.
No. I'm not saying you have to go anywhere.
But I don't believe that we will not get any further in this country either, though. I do think that we will get further in this country, and at some point, I do believe, it may not be in the next 100 years, in the next 300 years, but we'll be running this country at some point. That's just my personal thoughts on, a long-term future, and it may be nuts. I have been called worse. That's just me.
Well, I do hope it happens, but I'm a realist. And unfortunately,
you can't be a realist in the future. That's like an oxymoron.
No, I'm a realist about the state of this country right now and how the racial divide, the economic divide, the religious divide, the educational divide, the health divide, the accessibility divide. I'm realistic about those factors that are going on presently in this country. Now, unless there's some kind of way that you're going to convince the majority of white people to be actual humans, that's not going to happen.
I'm just going off the numbers, and they shit's dwindling. At some point they will have less people than we do. And we ain't asking shit at that point.
The only problem with that is, my brother, is that though we're about roughly 13% of the population, we're the leading group of people of abortion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that right there is like a year's worth of shows that we could do. Because that's a topic that does not get any attention like it should.
Well,
we talk about a lot of things. Go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. My bad. Anybody knows me know that how I feel about the eugenics program, but I tread carefully with it because I know it's a very sensitive topic. But I'm pretty knowledgeable about the eugenics program, and this I'm we've just been through a lot. Is what I'm saying, and it's been tough. It's been tough.
Like if you go, like numerically though, if you go bang on something, that's where you should start.
Yeah. It's
not
pretty. That's a pretty subject matter. That I've tried to get more people to read more into, and understanding what they're doing with the Margaret Strangers and all of those guys, the H.H. Hubbards, who also had adopted the IQ exam from Alfred Binet, the French doctor who created the IQ test, right? And of course, France, and it was about the study of retardation, and they made him disband it. And of course, Goddard was like, "Yo, I'll take it. I want to prove that these Negroes over here is ignorant." And of course, when he then tries to bring the test into the school system, the white kids were failing. And he was like, "Oh shoot, I got to figure something out." And of course, they eradicated that and changed it up, the Disability Act. But yeah, I'm really really a strong advocate against the eugenics program. Our sisters, unfortunately, we're losing a lot of children. Through that process of abortion. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And on that note, man, I am going to get to 6987. And matter of fact, before I do that, I forgot to let y'all know you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. And Facebook and Twitter. Well, Facebook apparently shut down everybody's live at the same time. I'm noticing that. So I didn't even bother to start that back up. But we still on YouTube and Twitter. If you have a question or a comment, the number is 347-855-8692. You just have to press 1 to get on air. Definitely check out blackspot.com. That's BLAQ spot.com. Intellectuallypetty.com, myskinismysin.com, and KMLportraits.com, as well as MRochelle.com. Had to get all of those out, and we're going to get to 6987 real quick. I'm trying, bro. What's good, fam? 6987, you there? I think I caught them eating dinner or something. Hello? One more time, 6987. Are you there?
Hello?
He eating ice.
Hello?
Hi.
How you doing? Who are we speaking with?
This is Kimberly.
How you doing, Kimberly?
Yeah. Fantastic show. No, actually, I'm just, I got so much to say. It's like, you know how you get so much to say. It's like you try to put it in, proper perspective.
Uh-huh.
Now, I did a study. I'm going to start like this. I went into an atheist chat room with the intention of witnessing to other people. And I had that intention to do that. But when I got in there...
I'm curious, why though?
I was a soul winner for a Baptist church, and we went soul winning. So I went into the atheist chat room to see what it was about and to kind of express my opinion on Christianity.
Uh-huh.
But what happened was I got blindsided, and I never expected that because they started questioning me and knocking against my paradigms, my beliefs. And do you know that it actually sent me into a tailspin? Maybe about 6 months. I didn't even know who I was, what I believed, or nothing. I went from being a strong, devout Christian to agnostic in 6 months.
Wow.
And it was powerful because oh my God, they blew my mind.
Like both eyes.
They blew my mind. I had questions.
It rained on her head.
Oh my God, they blew my mind. I'm telling you. It was a mess. It was a mess. Because then I started questioning this and questioning that, and I had so many questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started remembering that reverends used to give me answers, right? And then I said, wait a minute, this is too many answers. Why do they have so many answers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I said, aren't their answers just theories? And it started just blowing my mind, and I'm telling you, I had to go back. I typed in Google, what is the first religion? Who is the first people? I went all the way as far as I could try to go back to Seth, to Ra, the one that starts with an H, And guess where my journey from there took me right back to? It took me back to my love of Christianity.
Well, sister,
wow.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this. If you spoke to the atheists and they did that to you, I do not read any work from Thomas Paine, the book called Age of Reason. In fact, Hubert Harrison read that book and he left religion immediately. It's called The Age of Reason because he too had done some things to question faith and Christianity itself. But Yeah, you got to be careful with them. I used to debate them some years ago, and when I was a little young and fiery, and I just come to realize it's just like I can sit here and tell you I believe in Bigfoot, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's a very tough subject matter right there.
Well, you know what I call myself now? I call myself a believing non-believer. And that blows people's mind. They say, what? I said, what? I said, guess what? You know why I'm a non-believer? Because I wasn't there. Did I personally meet God? No. Have I met Jesus? No, I was not there. I cannot give you a personal testimony of verification, but I can tell you what the paradigms, the principles of faith have done for my life and my mind and my health and everything like that. My beliefs have changed in a positive way. But can I say this is why it's true and take you back to a reasonable explanation that you will accept? No, I can't do that. So I'm a believer, non-believer.
That actually makes some sense now that you explain it.
Yeah,
it does.
And I mean, let's keep it a stack though. Despite how much you can learn about religion, at the end of the day, you're learning based off of somebody else's opinion of what they saw, read, or knew. Mm-hmm. So religion in itself it's a faith. It is So I think what people get caught up in saying, well, it's such and such happened. That's a fact. No, I mean, well, technically, bro, you're wrong. It's not. We have collectively agreed on certain things, intellectually, but to say that it's a fact indicates that you bear witness, and you can't.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Good point. Excellent point.
But inherently, if it makes you a better person, if your journey takes you on a roller coaster ride like the rest of us, just yours is just maybe faith-based, but it makes you a better person at the end of the day, I fucks with you. I'm not mad at that.
Yes. Yep. And I have studied under the witnesses. I've studied with 5%ers. I've studied with Hebrew Israelite, and I've studied with a lot of people. So it just who's funny is the Hebrew Israelites. I get such a joy talking with them, and I crack up. I just crack up. They just tickle me. I enjoy them. They crack me up.
I'm glad you said it, sister. I'm glad you said it, because Jobs would have got on my head if I had said it.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to call any names, but they're my entertainment. I enjoy it fully. When I see them, I just have to go over and talk.
Ain't that bashing them?
No, they're just wonderful, wonderful individuals, but they're funny. They crack me up. Because then they want to debate, they want to argue, they want to fuss, they want to call names. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? You come? I came over here, trying to get some knowledge. You trying to cook me out and everything.
Okay, I'm pretty damn sure that is bashing them right there. And I can't, and those views do not represent My Skin Is My Sin or Blog Talk Radio for that matter.
I don't know.
Anybody who starts laughing at me, I start laughing. I just have to laugh because it's not that serious, you know what? And you're gonna be ready to fight me?
I'll say that. She brought up something that I will say this. The closest bashing you'll see me get when it comes to religion is I point out the fact that for it to be so harmonious and for you to have to try to live by the virtues of loving your brother, this is one hell of a chaotic world that we're in. And of course, much of it is doing of an oppressor that we seem to not be able to get a hand of. But I really have to put that in perspective that for it to be based off of one type of principle, we're doing a very bad job in our communities to live out those virtues to make us more harmonious amongst each other. That's some of the issues that I have. That's one of the. So I agree with you on that. That's as close back. Hey, Joe, that's the closest I'm gonna get to bashing tonight. I ain't going no further. I've been in so many arguments. Man, I'm done with it. I'm burnt out. But that's pretty much what you'll pretty much get from me. We are very chaotic at this point. So something is not working. That's what I'll say. Something's not working.
And I think we tend to use religion as a scapegoat, so that we don't hold ourselves accountable for not actually adhering to whatever particular religion we subscribe to. Because I can't say that I've read the Torah or the Quran, but I have actually read the Bible. And when you read it, a great majority of it is some good shit. As about how to live as a person. Are there some hypocritical things in there? Yeah, there are. Some stuff that just went over my head. Yep, that too. I'm assuming that's in every religious book, though. Like, there is no perfect book or no perfect text or no perfect way to live a life. But for the majority of the book, it gives you some just good life skills. And people just aren't actually practicing it as it's supposed to be practiced. They use in bits and pieces that they have a truth already, and they look for chunks that validate that truth.
You know what? I would agree with you, but that book if that book had not been rewritten for specific purposes of specific men, I would agree with you there. If it was more in line with the original Bible, at least the Ethiopian Bible, then I'd be more in line with you. But I would say there's probably 10% of the Bible that's useful for life lessons, and the other 90% is trash. It's trash.
Yeah, I would not even go there. That's just no. I would say probably 65-35 to the good.
60. You know what? Well, at least I got you to adjust your numbers, so I'll take that. But it ain't no majority. No. I can't do 65. That's too much.
Yeah, it's like if you're reading it from a point of, I don't know, when you don't go into it with an open mind, or after you've learned certain things that you've adopted philosophically for yourself, and you review things in the Bible, you look at it differently. So, that's a big problem with the Bible. A lot of it is not do this and that's it. It's do this, but if this happens, you could do this. But if that happens, I'm okay with you doing that too.
Contradiction. A lot of contradiction. I totally agree.
So
that's the benefit of having a subjective topic or subject matter where you can skew it to however you want to see life. You know what I mean?
I had a Muslim teacher. She was beautiful, and we talked a lot about this and that. And she told me, she said, I asked her one day. I said, how come you never questioned me about Christianity? She said, I know it. I come from it. I said, oh, okay, And then she said, I said, well, how come you don't get in arguments? Because some people wanted to be argumentative with her. She said, I don't. She said, think about it this way. Your beliefs are like a building, a construction site. Mm-hmm. Some is at the beginning, some is at whatever progress or stage it's at. If you go over there and you start kicking at the foundation, it's going to crumble. She said, when you're talking to people, remember that. So you don't walk up to them and start kicking at their paradigms and kicking at their foundation and cause them to crumble in their faith. And she said, because that's not a godly thing to do. Let people be where they are and let them stay there. And if they're interested in what you got to say, they ask for more. See, you can't cram nothing. It's like a restaurant that you go to. I shouldn't have to tell you, oh man, buttermilk biscuits and fried chicken and ooh, that collard green, ooh yeah. I should be able to tell you that, and you say, well, where's that at? And then I'll give you some more. I don't have to cram it down your throat. I don't have to walk up to you and say, yeah, chicken, boom, here's the macaroni, bam. That's what you do when you talk to people. You don't cram it.
I agree with you on that.
That's why I say you have to light the match, and whether they're gonna take it and they're gonna turn it into a bigger flame, that's not your responsibility. You did your job when you planted that seed. You know what I'm saying? But if you feel like you need to stick around and watch it grow, then you're turning into a controller of their salvation and their destiny, and that's not what evangelism is supposed to be about.
Amen.
And definitely appreciate you calling up too.
Yeah,
that was funny too. How you yeah, that was funny. Yeah. The atheists put that work on you. You came out.
Yeah, she was catching him. That was hilarious.
And Preston wanted to ask, why did God feel the need to mark Cain if he was one of the only people on earth?
Preston, all right, he's opening up a can of worms. The Cain and Abel story is, all right, brace yourself. The Cain and Abel story is not true. It's not true. It's not factual. It's not historical factual.
Oh, really?
It's not, I know, right? So shocker. The story, obviously it goes that Cain kills Abel and then they get kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and then later on Cain marries a Canaanite. Got it. That shows that people was already on the planet. I think what Preston poses that question, I'm assuming for the show that there are some disparities in that book. Well, that's why you have to be a student to study in that book and understand the authorship behind it, understanding what was the motive of comprising the Old and New Testament, and understanding allegories and things. And remember too, I just gave him a hint earlier in the show. The moment that Josephus Flavius is commissioned by the Romans as a Jewish scholar is the very same time that Christianity starts coming into existence too. I'm giving you some hints here to show that there was a particular group of people who had their hands in creating religions and ideas. And many of their ideas and their theological reasonings was, of course, the so-called curse of the Hamitic people, which we're supposed to be a part of. So I would just recommend Preston truly picking up a few books out there. He can email me. I got some recommendations for him. And to start getting into the history of authorship of the book, and go from there. And I'm being careful because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but truthfully, there's a tremendous amount of information in that book that is not necessarily true historically or archaeologically. I find the irony in the Bible that majority of the history that goes on in the Bible itself is in Africa. But these are the very same people who ate the Africans.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
The majority of the history, including here's where the contradiction kicks in. And I'm gonna help Preston out a little bit with this and anyone else of interest. So here you have the story that there are people of a certain group who were slaves in Kemet, what you call Egypt. The people who established Egypt, according to the story, are from the Hamitic people. Blacks, Africans. So the Africans built Kemet, but they enslaved a group of people called the Hebrews. And so the demonization of Kemet starts to kick in, where they are trying to sway anyone of African descent to start to study the history, the sciences, in the civilization itself, the greatness of the civilization itself that was created by African people. So, how do I stop you from wanting to learn what we've stolen from? I must paint it as a picture of being bad people. I must paint the picture that this is a part of Africa, and I emphasize that, who was established by Africans who migrated from Central Africa, Central East Africa, the Congo and the Uganda area, who went up the Nile and established Ethiopia, who established Nubia, and eventually settled in Kemet, and lasted for 30 dynasties, 3,000 years, and nowhere on the Medu Neter or the writings on the wall, what the Greeks call the hieroglyphics, is written of a group of people being slaves called the Jews by the Hebrews. So,
Chester, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna stop making so much sense. You're just gonna have to stop making so much sense because people don't like it. People don't like that right now.
So he's saying that I can't answer it. What I just told him, it is a made-up story that was written by the people who began stealing stories out of Kemet. Remember, religion does not begin until the Hellenization period of Kemet. Preston Stark need to go and study the Hellenistic period of Kemet, where the Greeks and Romans was there, where the Jews was there. Now, all of a sudden, religion starts to rear its head. So I am answering your question, but I'm not going to continue to give everything to you. You have to be a student to what you don't know. And you have to research it for yourself instead of taking everyone else's word on face value. The Hellenistic period is one of the most detrimental, if not the most detrimental part of history that ever happened to the African, because it completely eradicated all of our accomplishments. So much so, you still got Europeans actually believing they came out of the damn Stone Age, the Ice Age, traveled all the way to Africa in 100+ degrees temperature, build up a darn civilization that lasted 3,000 years, go back into Europe, come out of the darkness of Europe, establish Greece, which originally started off of Crete, and then rediscover and say, oh man, what the hell is this? If that's not one of the most illogical things I've ever heard, I can't express something more. So you have to study that part of history, and that's going to begin putting you on that road of knowing how the Bible began. Hell, the New Testament just finished being written in 1611, and then the very same person who commissioned it also gave the state of Maryland, where I live at, the authorship to be in a state, which was named after the Queen at the time, Mary Land, Elizabeth. And all of the counties in Maryland is named after his whole family. Charles County, Prince George's County, Cecil County, Anne Arundel County, all of this. This is just 1611. What was the Africans going through in 1611? Chattel slavery.
Yes, sir. Connection.
Hope I answered that. I'm not trying to get too much into that because it's going to sound like I'm careful about that because I'm not trying to bash. I want to put it in historical perspective. It is not archaeologically.
You walk right up to the bashing fence, but you stop.
I don't. But you know what I mean. But we. I want us as a people to become more students of the history. Stop always trying to be devoted to faith. And be just as equal in the history. You have to, because if you don't, they're going to keep tricking you with the same tricks. You got African people believing that there was a bunch of white folks of Jewish descent that actually came into Egypt and built pyramids. Are you kidding me? You got people that actually
they can't go out on the beach. They can't go to the beach on a sunny day without
Thank you. And guess what? I got a question.
Well, I don't know.
When
that was I just talking to who?
What'd you say?
Somebody got a little echo. I couldn't hear you.
So, like the Book of Psalms, the Book of Psalms is plagiarized off of Akhenaten. And you want to ask yourself, who's Akhenaten? Akhenaten was the pharaoh who, in fact, wrote. He didn't bring in the new religion. They say that he did. It was pretty much almost there, but they say for saving time, he brought the new religion of Atan, the sun, and he wrote Psalms. It was plagiarized. And Psalms, the Book of Psalms, is plagiarized off of Akhenaten's poem, which is called, which was written by him. No religion existed until the Europeans began coming into Kemet and stealing both out of Kemet and various parts of African spirituality. That's why you have to read Dr. Ben Yakinen's books on this, Dr. John G. Jackson's books, Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop's books. You have to start being a student of this. You just can't rely on the Bible. You're going to get stuck.
I guess it depends on what you're trying to get out of it.
I have a question for the sister. I wanted to ask her something.
Me? Go ahead, sister.
Yeah. I called the churches a brothel one time because I said the pastors were pimps and I had a whole theory of pimps, hoes, and some more stuff because of all the stuff that goes on in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot, you know. Do you feel as though you know, have you ever been harassed in the church or felt as though you were pressured by any of the men or felt out of place in church?
I will say that I used to go to Church of Christ. And in the Church of Christ, it is strictly by the New Testament, you know, so it's, you know, women can't wear pants, women can't be preachers or evangelists, there's no musical instruments, there's no, you know, all the fanciness that a lot of these modern churches do, you could not do. And I didn't really particularly have a problem with that, but it was a bit oppressive with men being able to ask and have an exchange taken seriously, which is why I'm non-religious today. Every time I ask my pastor a question, because I'm really curious by nature, I'd always get a really short, dismissive answer.
Afi, hold on one second. Somebody got a phone. Afi, hold on one second. Somebody got a phone ringing in the background.
So much so to where he got tired of me asking and just told me to start finding the answers myself, researching the answers myself, which was, you know, probably the worst thing that he could have done. But aside from that, you know, we were in, you know, little match groups. You were expected, you know, to be matched in the whatever age group you were in, 18 to 30 group, and, you know, this, that, and the third. And so that was a bit oppressive. And even in that kind of community, and I will say that it was a very community-driven atmosphere. But even there were, you know, perverted men there that, you know, would say this and that or suggest this and that. So I don't know if you can ever really truly get away from it. But, you know, there were a couple of things that seemed to be oppressive to me, but nothing that I couldn't handle. So, you know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier, I think we tend to like we dismiss our accountability as a community. Like we blame it on the church, but it's us going into that church doing dumb shit.
Okay, but you know what, y'all, you keep saying that. But what other resource have we been taught to reach out to? That's what we've been indoctrinated to do, run to the church. So, yes, we have the right to say that a lot of these issues are at the church. That can be your personal opinion.
Well, first off, when you say that, though, you're not basing that off of any personal knowledge or any facts.
I'm basing that off of my personal experiences. I'm basing that off of my personal experiences as a Christian, as well as my professional experiences as a psychotherapist, a black psychotherapist, having to deal with the fact that I have about 2 to 4% of black clients that are not forced to go to therapy. So, yeah,
okay, and my point is that, and that's dope that you do that. However, you see such a small sample size of our people. You see such a small sample size of our people that go to church. And what I'm saying is we tend to let me finish. I'll let you finish. Let me finish. We tend to we'll look at the mega church that is raping people and taking their money and extrapolate that down to the person that's working 3 jobs and still preaches on Sundays and Thursdays. Because there's those people, too. And all I'm saying is those people shouldn't get thrown into the same boat with the morons. Just like I don't want to get thrown in the same boat with some moron. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that
I think you're the one, but you're the one who's doing that. Because if I'm not mistaken, I made it very clear that the community of the church that I was in was very community-oriented and positive and beneficial for the most part, but there were a few issues. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. I've never said that there is absolutely no benefit. Okay, so what are you talking about? I didn't throw everybody in the pot. Your whole point that you're making to me right now
I'm not
is I'm
saying you taking it personally.
I'm
not saying you personally. I'm just saying as a community we tend to do that. You know, people will be like Creflo Dollar is like some type of representative for every pastor, and he is not.
But yes, and I agree with you. But what you're also neglecting is the fact that we got a real issue with folks running to church instead of being self-accountable, self-reliant, and self-progressive.
We got a whole we think differently on that one. And I agree with you on people being self-accountable though. I agree with you 1,000%. You know, But you got a problem with the fact that I see some issues with how reliant we are on the black church, even though you will agree that the state of the black church right now is not the same as it was 50 years ago when it really was the cornerstone of the black community. But you have a problem with me saying something about the black church today. I do. You can't keep on praising with the black church today. Like I don't have a problem with you saying that, and that's the truth. But I don't know if I think that we were more reliant when it was successful. We were more reliant on the church, as opposed to, and you're saying that people are too reliant now. And I'm like, when we was really reliant on it.
Black people had more ownership. Black people had more businesses. Black people had more schools. A lot of this has to do with before the civil rights movement and before voluntary assimilation. But when the black church was the cornerstone of the black community and was built specifically for the benefits and a resource to the black community, we had those things. We had businesses. Your great-grandmother was a midwife or a seamstress. Your grandfather was a farmer or owned a mechanic shop or something. Nobody was running to the church looking to get their electricity bill paid, and nobody was running to the church to leave their children or for rent or whatever have you. Nobody was doing that. People are doing that now because of the lack of resources that are in the community and because they feel like they have nowhere else to turn and they can't do anything. For one, because they haven't been taught how to get out there and make it happen on their own. And for two, it's because we've been indoctrinated to run to the church not even for assistance anymore, but for God.
What you said was just not true, though. Like, people shared their problems with the church, like, since the church been in existence. If somebody come into the church,
I'm not saying nothing about sharing. I'm not talking about
you said that people didn't take their problems to the church if they couldn't pay their light bill, and that's not true. Back in the day, if somebody was struggling, the whole church would pitch in. So that's just not true. People took their problems to the church back in the day.
You just completely missed everything that I was saying about black people being more self-sufficient back in the day. Completely.
No, I didn't miss that. I got that part.
You're gonna have to find that and prove that to me that 50 years ago the black churches were looked for resources and for helping financially more than they are today. Because black people were in better positions then to pay for themselves than they are today.
I'm not saying that the level has not increased, but what I'm saying is to say that didn't exist is just not true. That's what I'm saying.
I did not say it didn't exist.
People shit's just worse for all of us now as far as, being self-sufficient. Yeah, you're right about that. That I don't think that's no secret. I'm just saying that people did go to the church for things back then too. It was just it was less.
But people
got help.
But people went to the church. People went to that's what you said exactly what I was going to say. People went to the church then for the help that they needed, and they got the help. There were systems built. There were programs for that. But the church now is not doing that. There aren't many churches where you can go and get your rent paid or your utilities or whatever kind of service somebody might need that they think they can go to the church for. Because like the brother said, most churches now, business and profit comes first. And if you don't want to believe that, I'm sorry, but you keep seeing that example over and over and over again. At some point, you're going to have to start believing it. You're going to have to start believing it. Because if that wasn't the case...
Just like you got your experiences with the church, I got my experiences with the church. And apparently my experience...
You didn't even go to church on a regular basis. So, no, you don't have more experience with going to church than I do.
Again, I did not say I had more experience. I said just like you have your experience, I have my experience with the church. And my interactions with the church have not been like some predatory shit. Maybe I've just been lucky and come across some broke-ass pastors. I don't know. But generally speaking, them the ones that I have interacted with. They just ain't had no bread.
But I don't have a problem with that. Why did you feel the need to challenge my experiences with the church?
I'm not challenging your existence.
You are. Then what are we talking about? Why did you pose the question or the statement to me? I am taking it personal because you asked me.
And we got a great guest on, and we didn't ignore this brother for 20 minutes. I'm sorry, man.
Well, we're going to have a personal conversation about it. I'm not going to let it go.
I know you're not. Oh, my goodness.
And I apologize, y'all. I completely zoned out for a second. I'm sorry. I apologize to the guest on the line.
No, you're fine.
But I did feel like you just challenged my personal experience, which is why I wanted to make sure that you understood where I was coming from, because you wasn't sitting up in the pulpits with me.
Yes, I was. I was there.
No, you wasn't.
Yes,
no, you wasn't.
I'm everywhere.
I didn't even associate with riffraff like you back then. So stop lying.
Oh wow, I'm riffraff. That's the damn, man. Front of company too. You see how she do me, bro.
You know I love
That's
you.
not cool, man. You need to go pray on that.
I know.
And I'm sorry if anybody took that as disrespectful. I was not trying to be disrespectful, but it was kind of funny. So, what you gonna do? Oh, damn, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. We got about 10 minutes left. I just wanted to stick that in there.
Oh no, it's fine. I wanted to say, man, just to kind of reiterate from my point of view, and I enjoyed the conversation with you too. Trust me. From my point of view, I want to reiterate the fact that we have to be careful on how we treat each other, despite differences of theology, and because the main objective as 11 to 13% population in this country that is being ravaged by of so many onslaughts of attack. We have to be careful on trying to, besides who's doing what better for us and who's not, because it's tribalism at this point. And the sad part about it is, it's almost the same tactic of now that happened years ago for them to come in and to manipulate and divide and conquer to put us in the same predicament. It's killing us. That's why I don't argue with people who are Moors, indigenous, and who goes with it by the indigenous ideas, the Hebrews, and all. I don't argue with them no more because it's counterproductive and it takes away from the fact that we're suffering. So if Yahweh or Noble Drew Ali or whomever is getting you up in the morning to make you feel better and to motivate you to do better for yourself, and is preventing you from doing anything that is treacherous or whatever to your fellow man, I'm with it.
Facts.
Now, granted, don't attack me because then things change, and and then and I'm pretty good at what I do. However, we got to start building back. And and the major nucleus up until just 40, 50 years ago, the major nucleus have always been the church. However, let me put this out there one more time. The differences of the church then and now, our ancestors knew who they were. That's why if you go and pull up Prince Hall, who was one of the major advocates of going back to Africa. If you look at his Masonic regalia on his apron, it has Africa on it. It says Africa Lodge because he knew he was African. He's from Barbados, but he know he was African. They African too, despite they may not want to. They got problems like we having up here too. And so we have to set the narrative back of being, for the major objective of reconnecting who we are as one. You get your liberation back, and then we'll figure the rest out later. Now, if you want peace, then fine. Go to your sanctuaries, go home, chill, spend time with the family, keep it moving. I want liberation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want just peace. Because if I just want peace, I can hang up right now and be like, yo, peace, love y'all, I'm out, stay in my own little world, and I'm gone. I want more than that. I want liberation. That's a total different. Those are completely two different things.
Okay.
No doubt. I agree.
So.
And I definitely want to say, man, thank you, man, for the gems you dropped just consistently. And the brother is just ridiculously smart, man. Like it's gotta hurt, man. It's too much. Too much going on. You're too smart.
You're funny.
But I truly respect and appreciate you, man. Definitely appreciate your time and your wisdom, bro. Just wanted to let you know that, man, because we only got a few minutes left. I usually try to get a brick song in. I did a couple earlier, but I ain't got none on the blog talk, so we gonna have to. I think I'll end it off with Scientific. I know I started off the live stream with it, so we might as well end it off with it. But yeah, I wanted to give any shout-outs, say anything, say hello, moms, or anything like that.
I'll let the sister go first.
I couldn't hear you, bro.
No, I'm letting the sister go first, brother. I'm letting that sister go first, man.
Afi,
you there?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Okay, I thought we were waiting on the other system. Excellent conversation. Thank you for coming on. I definitely appreciate it. I'll make sure you accept my friend request. I am all for, educated, Black people that got something to share without a lot of judgment and pushback. So I'm working on it. I'm a little feisty, so having that good energy. having that good energy is always a good thing. And Jobs, I love you. So that's it.
Well, I'm a Gemini, so I can handle it. I ain't worried about that. It's four of us sitting right here right now, so we good. I just want to give thanks, man, to the ancestors and their sacrifice, and to the divine creator, man, and that we all manifested from. And give a shout out to My Skin's My Sin for allowing me to come on and speak to y'all, and that means a lot because you didn't have to. Give a shout out to my crew out there in BK, Truth of Story, and all those fellas, Rob Bourne and all those brothers, man, Jehudi, my yacht. So, and everybody on Facebook who really appreciate my efforts, and I'm just really thankful that I'm someone that you felt as though is worth listening to, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, man, it was dope, bro. You definitely, I learned some things. Well, that ain't exactly difficult, but that's another story.
There's something wrong with you, man. There's something wrong with you.
I ain't rap too tight, bro. You already know that, man.
Yeah, you had me laughing all morning this morning. I was like, something's wrong with him, but I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
No doubt. And shout out to Stay On Code, put me in the game. D, and I can't even look at the live stream on Facebook, so my bad. But that wasn't me. That was Facebook. But shout out to everybody that was tuned in on the live stream there and on the live stream in Twitter. Oh, and Periscope. I keep forgetting about Periscope and Restream, actually. So if you want it on one of those platforms, you might have checked us out. So shout out to you. And if you listen to this next year or in 1,000 years, man, I hope you have a good day. Enjoy the person that you are, man. We love you. Don't forget to check out intellectuallypetty.com, MySkinIsMySin.com, Blackspot.com, MRochelle.com, KMLPortraits.com. And I think that's it. Oh, and subscribe to the YouTube channel too. We got like 300 people. Like, I'm feeling bad over here.
Which one? And this, what's that again? Just your YouTube channel again, bro.
Oh, the My Skin Is My Sin.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, and we on Instagram, My Skin Is My Sin, the number 1, and Twitter is the same thing. And on that note, man, we're going to play this joint, and we're going to be out, man. So peace to you. And if you see a post, share a post, and help us out a little bit, So peace.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
You can throw it in the White Owl. James Tony lights out. Anything is possible. Trump is in the White House. I'm LOL, y'all like wow. Just blowing in the white cloud. First a black man, the racists. Look, they turning on the lights now. Wake up. Mankind throwing rights now. I'ma need y'all to pipe down. Don't care who you vote for. The same ones you vote for, same ones we sell coke for. I'm hoping they stand on everything they spoke for. See me, I'm of a different thought. Cut from a different cloth, sliced from a different loaf. As we bred here, they screaming go back to Africa like we bled here. They scream go back to Africa, won't stop attacking us. 10% Dracula, devil with a bachelor's. Yakub sent to master us, 600 years of grafting us. Jesus coming back for us, that's silly, they just laugh at us. Why the world so mad at us, why the world so mad at us. So
we get high, why the world go by. We smoke blue, why the world go back. We live slow, but hate our fast. If you want a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah. Oh, we smoke to be stress-free. Oh, we only smoke.
Enjoy the people in your company. Before they no longer people in your company. But watch who you accompany. The world is full of tricksters. Slick with their lips, sipping on elixir lies mixed with the liquor. See, I get the bigger picture cause I'm framing it. You see, I get the bigger picture cause I'm painting it. This the results of Moon Rocks and Cali's favorite. This the results of Hennessy straight, no chasing it. Not scared to put my face in it. I'm out here killing all the doubt there. East Coast, West Coast, down south, Midwest, Ohio's next to bench press. Can't change, I'm senseless. But I'ma die slow, not riding with Diablo. Or the sleepy cause they hollow. Switch or the Fonto. Tengo hambre, dame chiquitos con pescado. En y estoy malo, simpático. Por supuesto, le dije, y estoy malo. So
we get high, while the world goes by. We smoke good while the world goes back. We live slow, but date our fast. If you want a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah, oh, we smoke to be stress-free. Oh, we only smoke.
We smoke until we stress free and party like we debt free, and we having fun. This is Jackie Chan versus Jet Li. Okay, let's breathe. I'm Mr. Third Letter, everything. Let's see, let's beef. I view the streets from the Matrix. The cop killing is racist. The planet's full of hatred. They hate when blacks say sh. They hate when blacks say sh. All black lives matter. Listen, that's a lie. Check the data. And we done moved mountains just to sip fountains, and they done hypnotized the 85ers by the thousands. And I ain't just writing, never just rapping, and I ain't just rhyming, and never did no tapping. But this is what that smoke do, make me overly vocal. I'm antisocial, shining like I'm supposed to, but plus I can flow too. See what Ohio go through, and wasn't surprised to see them Indians choke too. So
we get high while the world goes by. We smoke good while the world goes back. We live slow, but date our fast. If you want a nigga like me, we only smoke to be stress-free. Yeah, oh, we smoke to be stress-free.